This is a formal meeting, and I will hope that you will treat it as such. I want to call this meeting of the Carpentersville Village Board to order. Terry, would you please call the roll? We will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for an invocation from Pastor Phil Zielinski. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor Phil?
Lord, tonight as we gather, it seems to be a night of a lot of excitement, and Lord, we're thankful for those who have chosen to serve in this community, those who will be sworn in as trustees. Lord, just give them wisdom in their position, the leadership of our police and fire departments as they are sworn in. We pray for them to have wisdom and just continue to be good, steady leaders in this community. We're thankful for all those who serve in those positions and serve this village, and pray for their continued safety and well-being. And we pray all this in the name of our Creator. Amen.
Okay, the first item of business is reports of manager, officers, commissions, and staff. Mark, your first presentation this evening.
First presentation, I'd like to introduce Joe Wade to do the prelim of some old business we've talked about with the TIFF, creating a new TIFF, the Old Town TIFF. And I didn't change the schedule around just to make Joe have an audience and our consultant. But hopefully it'll be very brief and to the point, and one or two of you will find some of it interesting. I know you're here just for the swearing in, most of you. So, Joe, if you would.
Thank you, Manager Rooney. Good evening, everyone. This is a follow-up to, I believe it was our last meeting of St. Patrick's Day. We discussed the possibility of creating a new tax increment financing district along the Route 31 corridor that would encompass some of those properties, including especially Huntley Square, which serves one of our greatest corners, but it needs a boost as far as redevelopment. The purpose of this TIF would be twofold. It might be considered a limited purpose TIF in the sense that we've identified certain goals. One part of it is to utilize the fund balance that's within the Spring Hill Commerce and Industrial Park TIF. They'll be estimated at the close of that TIF, that's about 3 years away, they'll be between $3 to $4 million. And that could be very valuable seed money for the village of Carpentersville to obtain grants to pursue some of the goals that have been identified within Old Town. Goals such as stormwater management to make property more developable on Washington Avenue, do something about the Washington and Main intersection. It's been long talked about the possibility of a riverside park. What is valuable to the village is if we had $3 to $4 million of seed money, that would enable us to leverage other money from the state of Illinois or the federal government, congestion mitigation and air quality funding. So that's the purpose of it. We're going to go over, left over from our last meeting about this was the discussion of the boundaries. And Manager Rooney and I had met earlier with District 300 representatives, and understandably school officials, library officials, they might view a TIF a little bit differently than the village. The one thing that they did ask us to do is to try to narrow the boundaries down into what would be considered a limited purpose rather than something that's speculative. Speculative meaning we're going to TIF this area, if you build it, they will come. So in sensitivity to the school district, we've narrowed that down. We have tonight Jeff Dickinson from our development advisor, SB Friedman and Associates. And Jeff, also, before we get into the follow-up on the boundaries, we also wanted to advise you, as you are aware, we did receive an application from the Spring Hill Commerce and Industrial Park for an application for assistance from the village for marketing purposes, signage. We've done quite a bit of research into that, and as the structure of that TIF was formed, right now it does not allow for that. However, the village certainly has the ability, the opportunity to make an amendment to that. And, you know, we always very closely follow the state law. We're very transparent about these things. So we asked SB Friedman as well as Village Attorney Hart Passman to review this. Jeff is going to talk a little bit about tonight, before he gets into the boundaries, about the process, what it would take for the board to consider that application from Spring Hill Commerce and Industrial Park. And I've used up too much time. Sorry.
Thanks, Joe. Glad to be back before you all. I'll try to be brief. I appreciate there are much more fun things in the world than me talking. So the Commerce and Industrial TIF matter first. Hart and I did look at the original plan. We do believe an amendment would be needed in order to be compliant with state law if we want to fund, if the village board were to elect to pay for or reimburse for the cost of a sign at that park out of TIF funds. So we are
Reimburse.
Reimburse is correct. So it is, you know, that's the mechanism for TIF, is a reimbursement mechanism. The cost would be incurred by the property owner. They would prove up those costs, and then the village, you know, would reimburse them out of the available funds. So, but we do believe that needs to be done. In terms of process, there's some paperwork. We've got to write up an amendment document. That's not a huge exercise. That's a 2 to 4 week process, I think, to get the paper straight. But then we believe, and talking to Hart, I think he agrees that it would require what is called a major amendment. It's not a major deal, but it is a little more process heavy, and so there'd be about 3 months. As there are with any TIF designation, you've got to have a joint review board meeting with the other taxing bodies, public hearing, and then an adoption. So all in, it might be a 4-month process from start to adoption of an amendment, should you proceed with or elect to proceed with that. As Mark reiterated, you know, that doesn't mean you have to make a commitment to a developer. That just means you could. Currently, the plan wouldn't allow for that. So that would be a separate and parallel process if the village wants to evaluate that request and enter into a redevelopment agreement. That can move in a parallel track with the amendment process. So it wouldn't take any longer than that, I wouldn't think, to get a deal with the developer should you choose to proceed with that. Yes, ma'am.
So can we get a breakdown of the costs for that sign so that we can take
won't
that
be a
into
problem,
consideration?
yeah.
Okay. And then can we also find out from the other tenants in that area, is there a way to know what their thoughts are on that also? So that we know it's, you know, kind of a more consensus, if you will, that they feel the sign would be beneficial and help with their businesses and that there. So.
It's already done that.
They have a it's not a homeowners association, but they do have an association
Right.
that has asked for this. It's not just the business manager.
Okay.
He's representing all the businesses in there that have asked for this. So
All right.
that part, we're fairly certain this is a group
Okay, good.
wish.
Okay, thanks.
Paul?
Yeah, and he's offering to let the village use that sign to announce different events that are going on in town as well. So
Okay.
we'll take advantage of that, too.
Yeah, okay, great.
Okay, you can continue then.
Okay. My second item is, as Joe pointed out, the boundary of the proposed Old Town TIF. I guess the headline is, we have looked at contracting it based on direction from staff and obviously conversations with other taxing bodies. We do believe it's still eligible in a more contracted form. This map you see here was the original boundary that we presented to you, I guess it was probably, 4 to 6 weeks ago now. What we've done, and this map is probably the most interesting part of this, I suppose. We've taken out a couple of areas in the analysis, primarily residential. So what we call sub-area 1, this is residential. It's up against the bluffs. It seemed unlikely to redevelop. It was in pretty good condition. It was eligible, we thought, but I think a little more caution perhaps in terms of our boundary. We thought that was a responsible exclusion. Likewise, some residential pieces here and here. And to the point that Joe was making, the broader point, there was a large vacant piece, actually 2 parcels, I believe, that was more in the speculative category of TIF. TIF it and hope development occurs. I think, again, we're recommending at this point the exclusion of that as well. So we think by doing that, we get to a more focused TIF, a more narrowly described TIF, a more targeted reinvestment strategy would occur. There is an area that is still not completely resolved eligibility-wise. We've been working with Hart and his firm. There's some land in here that we're having to do a little additional analysis on. But again, if that, I mean, I suspect that will qualify. I can't say that today that it will. There's some picking through the details to do there. But even if it comes out, whatever. For now, our analysis assumes it fits. If it doesn't, we'll have to explain that to you and why that doesn't work. But for now, we believe that is going to qualify. So what I wanted to share, and I don't know if this is too much information, is the sort of the change in terms of the findings, and I'll do it very briefly. As you all recall, there's two different sets of rules for improved and vacant land. The improved factors, we've still got buildings more than 35 years old, 56%, so that percentage has gone down a little bit, but it's still above the threshold comfortably. We still have a decline in EAV, and it's been outpaced by CPI in 5 of 5 periods, so it's, again, tax-based challenging area of the village. Inadequate utilities, still a very large percentage of the area is served by inadequate utilities, 83%. Lack of community planning, slightly lower percentage, but still a substantial area we think is exhibiting that. And presence of structures below code. Again, I think the number has gone down in terms of structures, but it's still a pretty substantial figure. Likewise, the new boundary for vacant land, obsolete platting, we think we've got a little more of that than we used to. Again, we're just taking out pieces and getting different answers. Still have EAV. It's a big drop in acreage. We're down from about 415 acres to about 330 acres. So I think it's in the right direction in terms of the policy guidance, or I don't know if it's policy exactly. We don't make policy. It's consciousness of other taxing bodies' concerns and focused strategy, I think, from the village's perspective. But short answer is we still believe we have a TIF, but a more narrowly focused one. So we want to get you up to speed on that, make sure that's something that, I guess, Joe, if you want me to direct, we're looking for direction, I guess, to move towards closure on this. I think that's what we're looking for. At least that's what I think I'm looking for tonight, if I'm right about that. So any feedback or comments, we'd be happy to take it in.
And it would be just that the board is still of a mind to go forward with this process, with this reduced boundary at the, as Joe and Jeff have both explained, and recognizing the other taxing bodies' concern that they have voiced.
Final adoption is still down the road. This is not a commitment. This is just delivering the document is some work that we need to do. Obviously, you don't want to deliver a document that's not something the board is on board with, if you will, conceptually, if you're not ready to vote about it.
And the timeline would be 3 to 4 months if we started getting direction tonight to bring anything back that you'd actually vote on.
Okay. I'm okay with it. It looks fine to me. It reflects what we've discussed up to this point. So,
yeah, I'm fine with it.
Looks like
we're all set.
it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other reports, Mark?
Well, I have other reports. Tesh wanted to give the report he wasn't able to last week on the budget, since there's a full audience. No, we passed the budget. If you thought TIF was interesting, you just wait till we get the spreadsheets out and show you where the money goes. No, that's all tonight.
Okay. Well, guess we're ready for reports of commissions. Pat, anything?
We have a Parks Committee meeting next Monday at 6:30 at Public Works Building. So, and at that meeting, we'll be talking about the community enhancement wards, now that timeline, that's been closed, and then what projects were suggested, and we'll go over what we think we can and can't do and bring it back to the board for approval then.
Okay.
So, okay?
Don, anything?
There was supposed to be a Jelkies Creek Watershed Coalition meeting yesterday. It was canceled. The next Quadcom Jets meeting is May 27th, and that's the one I'll call you on if I can't attend.
Okay.
Okay?
Paul?
Really no report. I think other than the Audit and Finance Commission wants to extend to Kay an open invitation for the rest of her life to attend Audit and Finance Commission meetings if she didn't get enough of budgeting and financial statements. So we always appreciate your input, Kay.
I'm always willing to give it.
Okay.
Thanks. Our BDC is always the fourth Tuesday, and it will be at 5 o'clock. In case people did not get that time change, it did start with the new year officially. This TIF program is something that will help us with that Old Town area that we've been working on with our Business Development Commission. And I will be staying on that commission even though I will no longer be chair. So I'm excited to just still be participating just at a different level.
Would you like to do any reflections of the, what is it, like 6 years now?
Well,
As the chairman, or are you going to do that?
I'll do that.
Okay. Well, at this point, then, it's time for proclamations, congratulatory resolutions, and awards, and we only have one tonight. And that is, Kate, why don't you step up to the podium? Okay. Well, Kay and I have gone through 3 elections and 10 years together. It's been a wonderful 10 years. She and I get along quite well, and we're able, I think, during the 10 years, along with the rest of the board, to get quite a bit done here in Carpentersville. And Kay was a big part of that. She's always been very forward-thinking about what's best for the village, what's going to happen, what do we need to do to be a better village 10 years from now, and that's always been the way she thought, look to the future. So with that, I have a presentation here presented to Trustee Kay Teeter in grateful recognition of your outstanding and dedicated service to the village of Carpentersville, 2005 to 2015, and we've got her trustee badge sealed under here so she can't use it when she goes out driving too fast or anything like that. But Kate, I'm going to miss you a lot, maybe as much as anybody here, maybe even more than your husband. I know you hate to speak, Kay, but go ahead.
Well, but I'm also a big crier. My whole family knows that. They always warn me before any movie, okay, Mom, you need a box of tissues, we might need one. So, and just, I'm going to turn this around because I just wanted to say the 10 years, the board members here, we've been thick and thin. Those of you who were around 10 years ago might remember the first time I got elected, our new village president at that time definitely had a different view on things than some of the rest of us. And we really had to just keep focus on what our goals were. And I always say that my success just even in life and in my business is I'm a persistent plotter, you know. You don't give up. You just kind of redirect, regroup, and you just keep moving forward. When we started, you know, Paul, Ed, and then, of course, the others that came on, but there was a budget crisis. Seriously, there was a budget crisis. The county was not even wanting to necessarily give us our tax dollars that were owed to us because they weren't sure that they could trust us on what we were doing with it at that time. So obviously 10 years later, with the direction of our finance people and the rest of our staff and the budget process and Paul being chairman of audit and finance and everybody having an input, now we're getting recognition and we're being a pattern after. Other communities are patterning some of their policies after ours. And that was totally unheard of at the time. And especially like I sat on the Stormwater Runoff Commission before. Now it's been policy, so that commission doesn't meet anymore. But when I first started representing our community there, the other people that were part of the county board were like, oh, well, that's a fresh face. You're a new idea. You're open-minded. And I started speaking more positively about what was going on, and so they started paying attention. And, of course, the board members always made contact and stuff there. Our comprehensive plan, I came on when they were just finishing. A year later, they did their Main Street Bridge. We've done a lot of things. Our Carpentersville Improvement Committee that we just really knew that as trustees, we were digging in and cleaning up yards even and things like that. So we were always a hands-on board, not just, and yes, I wear jeans, and yes, I get dirty. Paul's laughed at me about that for different things. He thinks I'm always prissy, but I'm not. Just our capital improvement program. At that time when I came on the board, and Paul and, like I said, others had been here too, but we were here the longest together. there had been no decisions made in the past because it is spending taxpayers' money. So we know it's not ours, we know it's all yours, but when we invest your money in improvements to our community, we all benefit. So we made decisions that we were going to invest and we were going to spend money, we were going to bond out and those things, and we are having the results of that. We have a better looking community, we have a more prideful community. Just even Maple Avenue. Those of you who came in tonight might have driven in on Maple Avenue. So that capital improvement program is not done, but it was established, and it is a continuing, flexible document as we move forward. Our IT department, oh my gosh, what a difference. Our website, thank you, Kevin. And I know that there are others involved, but really he has taken us to where that is today. Our community crime is down. Of course, we've always had an amazing police force, but just through the consistent support, I think that we're working as a whole and improvements to the community, our crime is down, and that's something that we can really be proud of. Our parks and Camber that has come here in our mountain bike trail, so we are really have been focusing on being a bikeable community because people will then come to our community because of the resources that are here. And the Parks Commission, you know, Pat is doing a fabulous job, and of course Ginger's on that commission and those others that have served, but we have some great things to be proud of. We've received over $15 million worth of grants in the last year. That was not something that was really done prior to that. Our Public Works building, our Village Hall, our police department, you know, investing. I truly believe I come from a family of union people, but I think working conditions are a key part of our compensation package. Whether you see it that way or not, but I know my mom worked in a factory. It was 120 degrees during the summertime, and there was no air conditioning. There was no even circulation or venting. So working conditions can be a great thing. So I hope after the change in the Public Works building that we built, and if you haven't been down there as a resident, that's your money invested there, but it allows them to do their job better. It is allowed us to make expansion here at the Village Hall and rearrange the way things were, so the police department then got more room because they were so cramped and had no improvements since I think the building was built in 1973. And that made readjustments and made more room for others as well. It's just all of those things add up to success as a community, because it's not just one person, it's the whole community when we do better. And I have a term that I use all the time, and it's for the good of the whole. What decisions are we making that is for the good of the whole, not just one group or this group or that group or one side of town or the other side of town? What is the good of the whole? Because we are a whole community and we work together. So, and this is the final thing, or the Business Development Commission that we started about 6 years ago, and that was something that we had talked about even in our first term as we were looking. We knew that businesses coming here would end up being relief for property taxes, and we needed to, oh my gosh, the changes in that development process. The departments work as a team. And it used to be individual departments, and a developer would come in and they would get a list of things to do, and they would come back with those things done, and they thought they were done. And then oh no, but now you have to go oversee this department, and then they get another laundry list, and then you'd have to go see this, another, and frustration for the developers. And now they have a development process. They can get permits over the counter. They can sit down with a team with their plan, and they know exactly what they need to do when they start, and then they're walked through that process. And so we are getting businesses coming to our community. I'm also part of the chamber, and we have ribbon cuttings and new businesses opening all the time. Yes, there are businesses closed, small businesses struggle when they first open up, but we have a lot of new business coming to town as well. And that is, I think, because the development process has been refined and it's much easier to come and do business. They see we're investing in our community, so they're investing as well. So I just want to thank all of you for putting up with me for these 10 years. We all have different opinions, but we always respected each other, and we sometimes agree to disagree. I always say that's how you stay married for a long period of time. Anyway, you have to sometimes agree to disagree. But so just thank you for continuing to serve, because I know as I'm leaving 10 years later, that we are in a great place compared to where we used to be. I want to thank all of the staff. We have an excellent staff, all the way down, from us. I feel like we're the support system and we just support the staff and then they support the community, not top down. And Mark, thank you for all the work that you have done. I mean, when you came in, we gave you a hard job. And, sometimes you had to be the bad guy, but it was really to our direction, most of it, but thank you for being strong when things got tough. And I know that you're a good leader for us and to take us where we need to go to continue that growth. And Jeff, thank you for running. I asked him to run. And I'm just excited for you to be on the board and your young family being part of our community. And that's it. So thank you for allowing me to serve you. So.
Well, at this point, we're going to adjourn Sin Die, which means it's just going to be a short break. One of the things that always happens after an election is everybody gets a new seat, so the clerk will be putting the name tags in the proper spots, and then we'll reconvene and we'll administer oaths of office to a great number of people. We need it. All right, we need a motion, I guess, to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion, Kevin, second, Ginger. Terry, call the roll on that, please.
Trustee Schultz?
Yes.
Trustee Burroway?
Yes.
Trustee Humphries?
Yes.
Trustee Rayburn?
Yes.
Trustee Teeter? Yes. Trustee Stevens?
Yes.
Very brief recess then.
What are you going to do? Are they going to move us around again?
When you thought you might be going out to do any landscape.
No, I don't know. Yeah. I just got to know you. I know. No.
All right, if all right, folks, if you could give us a moment here, we'll have the new trustees will be sworn in by the clerk. So, new trustees, if you can go on down in front with Terry.
Newly elected.
Newly elected trustees. Well, they're new. Oldly elected.
I can do it all at once,
It's usually up to you, but it's usually
I
one
think
at a
it's
time.
individual.
Yeah, individual.
Yeah, just to be safe. Yes. Yeah.
I, John Burroway, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of village trustee for the village of Carpentersville, Kane County, Illinois, according to the best of my abilities. Thank you.
I, Paul Hoover, solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of village trustee for the village of Carpentersville, Kane County, Illinois, according to the best of my ability.
That I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of village trustee for the village of Carpentersville, Kane County, Illinois, according to the best of my ability.
With that, we will reconvene as a new village board, and Terry, would you call the roll for the new board?
Trustee Burroway?
Yes.
Trustee Stevens?
Yes.
Trustee Humper?
Here.
Trustee Sabi?
Here.
Trustee Rayburn?
Here.
Trustee Schultz?
Here.
President Ritter?
Here. Okay, now that we've got that done, we've got appointments, confirmations, and administrations of oath for a number of people who are moving to new positions within the village. And we have our fire and police commissioner here to administer the oaths, right?
Carrie will do the OIGs.
Oh, you will? Okay. So the first would be appointment of John Skillman as fire chief. supposed to come down and introduce your family that's here. You ran away so quick, I didn't get a chance to do that.
My wife's Terry. No. My wife's Susan, and my daughter, and my grandson over here. You can't see him. My son Jonathan, and my dad used to be the police chief here in Carpentersville. Everybody knows, right? He's sitting back there. My sister, my brother, and my whole family's up there. Denise, everybody here. Okay, so.
Thank you, John. You're taking.
Of course, you know, the greatest fire department, right?
Yes.
Thank you, John. I know we're going to count on you for a lot of good years leading the fire department in Carpentersville. John's a great guy and well deserving of his appointment. Next would be Kevin Reinders, the deputy fire chief for the village of Carpentersville. Kevin?
I, Kevin Reinders, having been appointed
to the office of Deputy Fire Chief
to the office of Deputy Fire Chief
in the village of Carpentersville,
in the village of Carpentersville,
County of Kane,
County of Kane,
State of Illinois,
State of Illinois,
do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Deputy Fire Chief
of Deputy Fire Chief
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Kevin, do you have anything to introduce whatever family you have here
I
tonight?
can't compete with Chief Skill. This is my wonderful wife, Sue, and my daughter, Lauren, sitting next to me.
Thank you. Kevin is new to us, but has had a lot of fire service, and we've got quite an expert to help our fire department through some reorganization and a lot of other things that we'd like to do here. Okay, next would be appointment of Michael Kilborn as Chief of Police for the Village of
All right,
Carpentersville.
I, Michael Kilborn, having been appointed
To the office
to the office
of Chief of Police
of Chief of Police
in the village of Carpentersville,
County of Kane,
County of Kane,
State of Illinois,
State of Illinois,
do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Chief of Police
of Chief of Police
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Go ahead and make your introductions.
I have my family here, my mom and dad, my mother-in-law, father-in-law is here, my 3 children over here. I have friends and family, Kim, I've got Tom and Kathy Ross, and then standing in the back row, we've got a whole bunch of police officers, both current and retired, including current and retired chiefs, Stegmeyer, Newman, Gillette, we got Sergeant McLeavy, Chief Kruger, Sergeant Ford, I hope I have, and John Skillman, retired chief over there. So he's here for both of us. So thank you very much.
stood in as temporary chief when we were changing chiefs before, and I'm sure he's going to bring many more years of wonderful service to the village. I've got every confidence in Michael. Next would be Todd Shaver as Deputy Police Chief for the Village of Carpentersville.
Having been appointed to the office of Deputy Chief of Police in the Village of Carpentersville, County of Kane, State of Illinois, do hereby solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Deputy Chief of Police to the best of my abilities.
If you would, go ahead and introduce your folks that are here.
That's my wife, Wendy. Daughter Rachel, daughter Tiffany, son Ryan sitting down there, daughter Abby, and my mom and dad, Sue and Dale.
Todd has served the village in many capacities over the years, and we're happy to have him as Deputy Chief. Next would be Michael Salvaggio, Police Commander for the Village of Carpentersville.
I, Michael Salvaggio, having been appointed to the office of Police Commander in the Village of Carpentersville, County of Kane, State of Illinois,
Do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
of Police Commander
to the best of my ability.
Thank you. The Sarge, or it has been for a long time. It's wonderful to see you move up. You've done a lot for our village over the years. Do you have people to introduce for us?
My wife was kind enough not to stick me with me. My daughter Annika and my daughter Olivia.
Thank you very much. Okay, we now have a new full-time firefighter that needs to be sworn in, and then we'll ask the Police and Fire Commission President to do that honor for us, please. Mr. DeLong.
I, John Mahoney, having been appointed to serve as a full-time firefighter for the Carpentersville Fire Department, do solemnly swear I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, as well as the laws and ordinances of the Village of Carpentersville. And I do further swear that I will faithfully discharge to the best of my abilities all the duties necessary to defend and protect this community from fire and other disasters. Congratulations.
your wife and any other family members you might have.
Question back to the seat, that's Julie, my wife. My father, John. Sister, Nicole. Her husband, Jimmy. Father and mother-in-law, Bill and Carol.
Next would be swearing in of Jorge Gonzalez as police sergeant for the village of Carpentersville. John, you're going to do the swearing in on this as well. Okay.
I, Jorge Gonzalez, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the ordinances of the village of Carpentersville and the county of Kane. I will also abide by the rules and regulations of the Carpentersville Police Department, and the orders and directives of the Chief of the Department. And I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Patrol Sergeant according to the best of my ability. Okay. Beautiful wife, Heather, and here's supported by my brothers and my sisters.
And I was remiss with the trustees being sworn in. We didn't ask them to introduce their families. So, Jeff, anybody you want to introduce here tonight?
My beautiful wife, Angie, and my beautiful daughter, Madeline.
Paul, anybody you'd like to introduce
No,
this
I
evening?
couldn't talk the kids into cake tonight. They just weren't into it. One of those bad meetings, Dad. So they would have enjoyed it, though. But
I just said,
thank
been
you.
there, done that.
Yeah. Yes, they have.
Don, anybody you wanted to introduce this evening?
My lovely wife, Nancy.
Okay, we're ready to move on. Terry, do we have any commenters this evening? No commenters. We'll be very short here, folks, so we're not going to have a special give you a chance to leave thing. We're just going to finish the meeting, which should be less than 10 minutes at this point. Next is consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of those items until a trustee so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Any items to be removed?
I'll motion to pass the consent agenda.
Motion, Paul. Second, Don. Terry, call the roll.
Trustee Burroway?
Yes.
Trustee Stevens?
Yes.
Trustee Humphrey?
Yes.
Trustee Sabi?
Yes.
Trustee Rayberg?
Yes.
Trustee Schultz?
Yes.
I'll ask your indulgence, folks. We only have a couple minutes here. Let us finish this peacefully or quietly. We have no old business. We have no new business. All we have left is trustee reports, and we'll start with Don this evening. Any report?
No, nothing tonight.
Ginger?
I have nothing either.
Paul?
Thanks to all the residents and family of people that were sworn in tonight for showing up. We're happy you're all here. It's a very exciting night for us, not only to get sworn in, but to put two home guys in as chiefs in as our police chief and our fire chief. And it's really a special night here in Carpentersville for doing that. So thank you all for attending. Appreciate it.
Jeff?
Kind of freaking out a little bit. Thank you for having me.
Kevin?
I just want to say congratulations to everyone who was sworn in today, and thanks for all the family for coming out and supporting everyone. This is really, it's a great thing to see this. That concludes my report.
I wanted to say thank you, everyone, too, for your support. Congratulations to all those who are sworn in. Jeff, we're looking forward to working with you. And I just kind of wanted to say that in light of what's going on in the rest of the country, to see so many uniforms in this room and see our community supporting them and they supporting us, and a few in not in uniform over there, that it's very heartening. And we support all of our folks in uniform here, and I appreciate all of your support for them. Thank you very much. So.
Do we have something that I don't know about? Oh, okay, John's saying no. All right, with that, then normally I would have some reports to give, but I think I'll hold them till next meeting, and instead I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
A motion.
I second.
Motion, Kevin, second, Ginger.
Jeff. That was Jeff.
Jeff, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it was Jeff. You're fast, Jeff. Usually nobody can beat, well, Kay's not here anymore. Nobody can beat her. All right, motion, Jeff, second, Ginger, voice vote, all in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Aye.
Adjourned.
Thank you.